Alrighty guys, what is up? And Sam coming at you with a deck profile on a deck that I've been super excited to show you guys. And that obviously is my Blue Eyes deck. Now, I've been super excited to build this deck for quite some time now, just because I played it back when the structure deck came out. And the deck was a lot of fun, because a lot of the stuff in the structure deck, like Azure Eye, Silver's Cry, Maiden, all that, just gave the deck a pretty good boost to make it a little bit more, a little bit faster. Just not enough to make it competitive, but with the recent release in Shining Victories, gave the deck a very big boost, and then also the Felgrand structure deck and the finally getting Alternative Dragon and TCG. Just made the deck that much better. And yes, this deck can compete with the meta, just depending on your build and things like that. But I just feel like once the current meta dies down, like Konami decides to hit Monarchs, Phantom Knights, or not Phantom Knights, but Burning Abyss, and then Cosmos. If those decks get hit, then this deck definitely has potential to be one of the best decks of the format. But yeah, without further ado, we'll just get right into it. So starting with the monsters, shouldn't really have to explain this. 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon. You want to see this card in your hand and also in your grave as quickly as possible, just because you can just keep recurring this for Alternative Dragon plays. It's a 3k beat stick. It dodges like so many annoying cards. Like if your opponent has like a Phantom Knight's Fog Blade, then they can't target this because obviously it's not an effect monster. If you're playing against like Clee Demise, then this gets around lose a turn because it's not an effect monster. Just it's such a good card. The next, his partner in crime, Alternative Dragon. This card is just absolutely phenomenal. If you don't know what this card does, you reveal the regular Blue Eyes from your hand to special summon him, and you can only do it once per turn that way. And then you can target a monster your opponent controls to destroy, but he can't attack that turn. So you have to reveal the regular Blue Eyes, which is understandable, because I've heard some people actually tried revealing Malefic Blue Eyes. But it says Blue Eyes White Dragon, but it doesn't say a Blue Eyes White Dragon monster. You have to reveal the actual Blue Eyes White Dragon to summon this. And then popping a monster is really good, and then it can't attack that turn, but you can easily get around that by like summoning this or the Dragon Spirit of White off of Silver's Cry, or you can synchro with it. Just so many good plays with this card. And also, you can ditch it to grave off of Trade-In, and then you can banish your White Stone Ancients and just add this back to the hand, so you just have constant resources. The next 2 copies of Dragon Spirit of White. 2 is the perfect number, in all honesty. Just because you don't want to run too many level 8s, because granted you do have triple Trade-In, you just don't want to contribute to breaking even more. But it's treated as a normal monster while it's in the graveyard, so you can bring it back off of Silver's Cry. And then if you do send this to grave with Dragon Shrine, then you can send another monster because it's treated as a normal monster in grave. And then whenever you special summon it, you can banish a spell or trap your opponent controls. And then during either player's turn, if your opponent controls a monster, you can trade this and special summon the vanilla Blue Eyes. So like if they try to target with this with Fog Blade, you can just tribute if they have a monster and then special summon the vanilla Blue Eyes, and then their Fog Blade's dead. I know I keep going back to Burning Abyss, it's one of the tougher matchups for this deck, but yeah, just really good to kind of dodge those annoying spells or traps. The next, I play 1 copy of Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. I still like the 1 copy, just because whenever you special summon him from the graveyard, you can banish a monster your opponent controls or in the graveyard, and he gains attack equal to its level or rank times 100. And then if he destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can target a level summoner and dragon in your graveyard and special summon it. So it's a nice one of easy to get in the grave, and then you can bring it back with your revival. Or not revival, Return of the Dragon Lords. I keep wanting to call it my Gospel Revival just because it's the OCG name and honestly the cooler name in my opinion. It's really good for dealing with like those annoying cards. Like did this at locals for Yu-Gi-Oh! Day. Opponent was playing Phantom Knights, and I had trouble getting over a Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon that was like 40, I want to say like 4,000 or something like that. So I activated Revival, brought this back, banished it, gained the attack, ran over one of his Dantes, and then was able to trigger the effect, which is pretty cool. So I just kind of like the 1 of, but if you don't want to play it, you don't have to. It's just personal preference. The next, for the spellcasters or the tuners, play 3 Sage's Eyes of Blue. You can normal summon him and search one of your level 1 light tuners. So you can search, obviously, Effect Veiler with it. You can search Whitestone of the Ancients. You can search Whitestone of Legend. And if you wanted to, you could play Maiden. I just ultimately decided to cut Maiden here recently. But if you want, and then his other effect is you can target an effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon Blue Eyes from your deck. So, like, you have a Whitestone of the Ancients on the field, you can activate this effect, send it to the graveyard, and special summon vanilla Blue Eyes. And then your Whitestone of the Ancients effect can trigger an special summon a Dragon Spirit of White from your deck, so it just has really, really good plays. And then 2 Effect Veiler, just because if you want to, you could play 3, but it's not absolutely needed, because, again, you can search it off of your Sage, and then I have had plenty of instances where I actually end up hard drawing into this, which is pretty cool. So if you do have the Sage, and you use it to search Veiler, then your opponent knows you have a Veiler in hand, so they kind of have to think their plays through a little more carefully, because then they have to play around a Veiler, or they can just sit there and you can kind of bluff them and make them think you have a Veiler in hand if you didn't search it. The next 3 copies of Whitestone of the Ancients. This card is amazing. During the end phase, if it was sent to the graveyard that turn, you special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck, so you can summon, obviously, either the vanilla, or you can search, or you can special Dragon Spirit, which in most cases you're going to go for Dragon Spirit of White. Especially going second, if you can get this into grave. Like, just playing for fun against friends. I had a friend that was playing Dark Worlds, and he activated Dark World Dealings to draw one, and then I ended up discarding this. And then during the end phase, I got this effect to banish his gauge, which is pretty funny, but if you can get this off during your opponent's turn, it's just really, really good. And then you can banish it to add a Blue Eyes from a grave back to your hand. So it's really, really good for your alternative plays, like I said earlier, because you can have this in grave, banish it, add this back, and then reveal the Blue Eyes if you haven't hand a special summon, so just really, really good. And then lastly, 1 copy of Whitestone Legend, because it's always nice to just kind of get that extra dump to the grave with your, you can either discard it with Melody, send it to graveyard with cards of Consonance, you can send it to the graveyard with Twin Twister, 1 for 1, or just send it with Dragon Shrine and just get that vanilla Blue Eyes and set it for your alternative plays. That's it for the monsters. Moving on to these spells, because this deck doesn't really run traps, and you don't really need them. I played 2 copies of Melody of the Awakening Dragon. Honestly, you should be running this card at 3. Just haven't had the chance to buy one yet. I ended up trading for these 2. But basically this turns your hand into an instant alternative dragon. And then if it wasn't banned, you could play some dark monsters, and you could actually search Chaos Emperor Dragon with this, and I'll even show you real quick. Let's see. Because if you don't know what it does, you discard a card, add up to 2 Dragon-type monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So if you do play by the OCG, you can actually search this, because he has 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense, which is pretty cool. So if this card ever gets the errata, you can play some kind of Chaos Blue Eyes, and then play that in there, search this, and you can drop it and nuke the board, which is pretty cool. But you want to run this at 3, just because it's one of the best cards of the deck. You can dump your stones to grave. And then, depending on what your hand looks like, you can search the regular Blue Eyes, you can search Alternative Dragon, or you can search 2 of the vanilla Blue Eyes, or search 2 of the Alternative Dragon, or just grab one or the other if your resources are kind of low and it's kind of a grind game. But yeah, this card is just absolutely amazing. The next, I run 2 copies of Silver's Cry. Some people play 3, I just kind of prefer 2, just because at 3 it kind of clogged. Just 2 is pretty comfortable. Target a dragon, normal in your grave, and special summon it. Because in most cases you're going to bring back your Blue Eyes or the other target, Dragon Spirit of White. So Dragon Spirit of White's in grave. This essentially becomes a, what's it called? It's the new MST card that came out of Dark Illusions. It's like Galaxy Typhoon or something like that. I forget what it is. Where you pay 1,000 to banish it. But this is just basically for free if you have this in grave, which is really easy to do. So you can special it, banish the pesky back row, and there's floodgates that are annoying you. So yeah, just really, really good and great to just kind of set. Because if you have it, the Dragon Spirit of White in your grave, and then your opponent sets their back row, and then you go to the end phase, flip this, and then banish the back row that just sits, so you don't have to deal with it next turn. The next we run 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. Target a level 7 or 8 Dragon-type monster in your graveyard. And then special summon. If the Dragon-type monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this from your graveyard instead. So it's protection and a monster reborn that's not once per turn. So this card is just like absolutely amazing. The next 2 copies of Dragon Shrine, just, yeah, this card's been out for a while. You should probably know what this does. You send a dragon from deck to grave. And then if it was a normal monster, you can send another one. So you can dump the vanilla Blue Eyes to make your Silver's Cry live. You can dump Dragon Spirit of White, and then in grave you treat it as a normal monster, so you can send something else. Or you could just outright send this to search the vanilla Blue Eyes, or send this and it gets effect during the end phase. So yeah, just deck thin. And then speaking of deck thinning, since we run so many level 8 monsters, Trade in. Shouldn't really have to explain that. One card's a Consonants. This honestly isn't really needed too much. It's just nice to have every once in a while. Because the only Dragon tuners you run are the 3 Whitestone of the Ancients and the Whitestone of Legend. If you want to, you could play the Brilliant variant, and you can bump this up to 2. So you can activate your Brilliant Fusion, dump your Gemini Lazuli, and then Galaxy Serpent. You can add a Galaxy Serpent back to your hand and then send it for cards and Consonants. But if you want to, you can bump it up to 2, just I kind of prefer 1. This is probably where it gets a little bit weird, because not a lot of builds run this, but I play 2 copies of Mausoleum of the White. Mainly play it just for the extra normal summon of a Light Tuner, so it's kind of like the Brilliant Fusion engine in a way. But it's only for your Light Tuners, so there's a couple combos you can do with this. Where what you can do is you can normal summon your Sage effect. You can add a Whitestone of the Ancients. And then you can have Alternative in hand. Reveal the regular Blue Eyes to special summon its effect to pop a monster, and then you can use these 2 to synchro summon for 9 into your Spirit Dragon, and then you could make either Black Rose Moonlight and compulse a monster, or Michael to pay 1,000 to banish, and then you can use your extra normal summon to bring out the Whitestone of the Ancients and synchro into either Crystal Wing or Cyframe Omega. And then you can also have this engrave for your end phase effect, which is really, really good. So it has its moments. I really like it. And plus, you can banish it from grave to search Burst Stream, so which is pretty cool. So you can search your own kind of deck-themed Raigeki. 1 copy of Dragon's Ravine, just another way to get stuff engraved, pretty self-explanatory. On the 1 Terraforming to search out the field spells. 1 Burst Stream, yeah, it's Burst Stream, it's a searchable Raigeki. Then 2 copies of Twin Twisters, clear through back row, make sure your plays go off safely. Also get stuff engraved. Soul Charge, because if you open with this and a decent hand, you can make some pretty nasty boards turn 1. And speaking of turn 1, we play 1 for 1 to get your level 1 guys out of the grave, or out of the deck, and also get monsters in grave. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. Of course, the 2 Spirit Dragons makes it to where your opponent can't special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time. And then whenever effect of the card in the graveyard is activated, you can negate it for free, which is good, which is really, really good. And then you can also attribute it to summon a light dragon type synchro from the extra deck, which is really, really good. So you can use this to obviously tribute and summon Stardust Spark if you wanted to. You can bring out Michael or Black Rose Moonlight. We'll get into those later. So it's really good for controlling the board, and then, like, say if your opponent tries to summon one of their monsters that you don't want them to have on the field, you can distribute summon Moonlight Rose and compulse it. Then 1 Azurize. Giving your dragons protection for a couple turns is really good, and then also during your standby phase, you can just kind of keep recurring the vanilla Blue Eyes, or you can bring back the Dragon Spirit of White and then banish back row every turn, which is really cool, and also 3k defense is kind of hard to get over. Then for our Dragon Spirit of White targets, or Legendary or whatever his name is, Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, we have Moonlight Rose. That's a compulse, it's good. Michael, pay 1,000 to banish, but more often than not, you want to make sure you have a level 1 tuner for this guy. So if you wanted to, you could play Global Bold to kind of make this guy a little more alive to make your level 8 synchros. But yeah, pay 1,000 to banish your card, really good. 1 Stardust Spark. Something else you can do with this, I'll explain a little bit, is to protect your monsters. But also you can protect your Floodgates if you side deck, which more often than not you're going to. So like say, for example, you want to keep one of your Floodgates safe, so if you're in the Monarch matchup, you can tribute to special summon this, and then you can flip up Mask and Restrict, and then use this to protect it, which is really, really good. So it also can just sit there and kind of protect itself, which you can also do. Then for our level 8 synchros to make, we of course run Crystal Wing, because this card is really good. If you can make it, you should play it. 1 Cypher Omega, because banishing cards out of your opponent's hand is always a good thing. Lets you know what cards they have in hand, and also you can recur your Whitestone of the Ancients, which is really, really nice. Then for our level 8s, We play one number 38 because he's possibly the best rank 8 in the game right now. But you want to negate a spell and just kind of suck it up, and then if your opponent tries to attack your little guys, you can just detach and then change the target to himself with 3k, which is really, really good. So yeah, play him. One Heliopolis, you honestly don't have to play this, but I've had plenty of instances where this has come in handy. If you don't want to, like if you anticipate the mirror match to come up pretty often, you can play number 46 Dragoolian, which a lot of people play, but I don't have one. But this card does come in handy. Just get your guys engraved to pop cards. It's really, really good. One Felgrand, just kind of protection, really. One Tachyon Dragon to overlay into our Full Armor Photon Dragon to detach and pop, and then overlay into Dark Matter Dragon to get our guys engraved and also make your opponent banish monsters, which is more often than not really, really good. And then you can detach and attack monsters up to twice per turn, so yeah, really, really nice. And then lastly, one Twin Burst Dragon, which you don't have to place if you don't want to. I just prefer it because I've had a couple instances where I can make it just contact these into a blue eyes that can push for damage. It's just really, really good. But yeah, that's basically it for the deck profile. Yeah, like I said, this deck is a lot of fun to play, and I'd highly recommend to try this out. It can be a little bit pricey, but just wait for the Megatons to come out because a lot of this stuff should be getting reprinted. Like Blue Eye Spirit Dragon, obviously there's going to be a promo in there. The Cross Souls stuff should be coming in there, so Melody will get reprinted, so that's also coming as a common in the OTS pack. Just wait for the reprints if you are kind of worried about spending money on this, because the deck can be a little bit pricey. But if money is an issue, then yeah, go ahead and check out this deck. This deck's a lot of fun. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will catch you guys later.